Hi, it is July 20-something, 2014. I wanted to do an update for my rose breeding friends about the seed beds that I created last fall to test out mass seeding in the ground of rose seeds. The results were mixed, but overall I'm pretty optimistic. On the end here is L83, very sparse germination there, and some Prairie Joy, again sparse germination there. Here, this little section did not come up at all. It had Alica and EGS1 and some other kind that Titan Kaha, and so we've planted strawberries there. This section on the end here was Rosa Blanda. And part of my whole reasoning for this project is to do some mass seeding where I can select for reduced thorns or thornlessness. But so far, all of these Rosa Blandas are quite thorny. That thick mass back there is all open pollinated Caroil seedlings, which is the dark purple rugosa, once blooming rugosa hybrid from Robert Erskine. Really a nice rose, although it suckers. So if anybody is interested in some of these, I'm not going to be able to grow them all out. Next we have C1. I lined out 5. This whole project started when I got about 50 Carolinas and Rosa Carolina and Rosa Virginiana from Lawyer Nursery. And I noticed that there was variation in the amount of thorns that they had. So I planted out the 5 least thorny of each variety, of each species, and now I'm trying to continue that by doing my own mass seedings and selecting for reduced thorns. Anyways, so I have C1 through C5, which is Carolina number 1 through number 5, and then the Virginianas. This is C1, very sparse germination there. This was Rosa Glauca, and now we've replaced it with a multiplying onion. Here is Rosa Virginiana, number 2, and they're doing fine. And Carolina, number 2, which is a pretty nice, taller plant of Rosa Carolina. They came up really thick. And then the next 2 are my favorite of the Carolinas, C3, which has such a nice bushy habit and glossy green foliage. Down at the end is another Virginiana. I'm not as excited about the Virginianas because they do mildew, and their seedlings seem to uniformly mildew in the greenhouse. They're not going to mildew out here, so there's no way to select for that. But we could maybe see, here is an instance of variation in thorniness. This little guy here, if I can focus on that, has very few thorns. However, he is in the distinct minority. Let's see if I can show. Most of them are more like that, quite thorny. So anyways, that's good that I planted a whole bunch, because I will just sort through them all at the end of the season. Maybe I'll let them be here another year, I'm not sure. There, that guy's pretty smooth too. And select the few that have the least thorns. And if there's any other standout characteristics at a young age, like if they have really healthy, bushy